I'm so happy to be with you today. It's 12:30, it's Thursday, so we're doing a Facebook Live. I'm thrilled. So this is the second one, and what we're going to be doing is a Facebook Live based on the ounce of prevention, insights to keep the pounds away, and we'll do that each Thursday at 12:30. We'll do a little snippet, not take up too much of your time, but get into a little more depth rather than the short blog that will come to your inbox, or you can have it come to your inbox, or you can look at it on the website, any of that sort of thing. So today we're talking about willpower and some how-tos and what to do about that kind of thing. I am Dr. Stephanie Fine, if you're a new friend here, and I've been helping people lose weight, keep it off, most importantly, for almost 20 years now. It's 18 and counting. And I'm thrilled to be talking about willpower. So what prompted the ounce of prevention this week was that I went to Costco. Now, I hadn't been to Costco in so long. I used to go all the time, and I just sort of fell out of the habit. And what was remarkable, for those of you who go to Costco all the time, it might sound funny. I was completely overwhelmed by the sales and things like that. Like, it was the way they have got that dialed in. I mean, they know the triggers, they know everything. So it was accosting me from all sides. I actually ended up texting my husband because I was so aware of how bombarded I was. It was really interesting. I had to go there to get some food. And so that was all the way in the back, which, they actually do that on purpose, that you have to go all the way back to get the things, that people get frequently, so that you have to pass through all that. And I was able to do it, but not without a lot of prompting on my part, which is what got me to talk about that in the blog. So the real reason, besides that I was so shocked with all that, is that when I got home, I was hungry. Now, I actually wasn't hungry because I had had lunch right before. But what I knew to be true, because I'm doing this a long time, is that I needed comfort. As I'm saying it, I'm thinking, people must think it sounds a little nuts that a Costco trip can become something that's overwhelming to the point that I felt like I needed comfort. Now, I didn't consciously think I needed comfort. That's the trick, right? I just felt hungry, which I wasn't. But my pattern has been in the past, in particular, and now I'm very aware of it, that if I need comfort, I usually eat something. Eating something is the quickest way to that. Now, having done this a while, there are some other things that I like to do now to comfort myself. But the first one is to recognize that that's what's going on. Now, it was a little easier for me because I knew I had eaten lunch, and my lunch lasts me longer than an hour. So I knew that it couldn't be that. And so then it prompted me to think, well, what is going on? And it was the Costco overwhelm. So the interesting thing to me about that is that, so what some people don't know is that willpower is a finite resource. We only wake up with so much of it, and a lot of things deplete it, a lot. There are physical things like being hungry, being tired, that sort of thing, cold, hot, any of those sorts of things where you're not comfortable, that can make your willpower decrease. Emails, people asking you things, both in emails and in person. Kids are something that can deplete the willpower, just their nature. I mean, not even intending to be causing trouble, just, their constant bag of needs, depending on how old they are. Well, they always are needy, but you know what I mean? Like, if they're very small, that really can take a lot out of you. So knowing that means that we have to come up with strategies on how to support the willpower depletion, and also be aware that it happens. Because if you have you know what I wanted to do? I'm going to refresh. Sorry, I'm looking on my website to see if I can see that it's come up so that I know that this actually worked, which would be nice. So Being aware of this depletion means that you can then shore up yourself to get the things you want done in the day. One of them may be eating better. One of them may be completing tasks. One of them may be getting someplace on time. It might be having a meeting that you are interested in really being present for. At any of these things, the willpower depletion will work to make it harder, you know? And so knowing that it's there. Now, one of the things that ends up being really important is how you get the willpower. Like how is it that you, what gives you the most at the beginning of the day? Okay, so that is all the things you imagine it to be. So that's getting a good night's sleep, getting good nutrition, being healthy, physically, like a headache or any pain will certainly, that is the quickest. Now that pain zaps you. So making sure that you are literally physically comfortable as you can be. Even with that, you will have depletion through the day. So if you've noticed that the afternoon can be challenging, it's the willpower depletion. So how do you replete? How do you shore up your willpower? There actually are a couple ways that have been studied to show that they really work. So eating is actually one of them. Now, again, eating nutritious food at the right time. So it's not eating itself, it's making sure you have a sort of an even glucose level. So it's not that we're going to pop a thing of candy and now you're going to have willpower. That would lead to the crash, which would really deplete it. So what will work best is, nutritious eating through the day. Even emptying. So that means, a good combo of protein, carbs, good fats, that's water, that sort of thing. So good nutrition will help. Ironically, that also will help if your plan is to lose weight, right? Which is one of the things we're talking about here, is losing weight and keeping up. And so eating well helps your willpower, but also the willpower helps you continue your good eating. You see, it's that circle. So making sure you're not hungry. When you are hungry, you know perfectly well you have not great willpower. And so that's when, if you're over hungry, I talk about this a lot, if you're over hungry, you're likely to make bad decisions just to get the food into you. And that's a depleted willpower. So also sleep. So a nap would help. If you happen to be in a situation where you could do that, it would make a difference. But things like prayer, meditation, those things center you, right? You have to sort of be in the moment and reconnect to what you want. So to me, it's not a surprise that those things, gratitude lists also. So prayer, meditation, gratitude list, that you could see that that's a similar feel of those things. And they literally will give you more willpower afterwards. And you can see that. You could see that you'd be more focused knowing what you want to do and what decisions you want to make. Another one is social connection. So when I was having my Costco moment, the first thing I did, and this was unconscious, in terms of I wasn't trying to shore up my willpower consciously, was to contact my husband and think, oh my goodness, look at all these crazy things. I couldn't not contact him. It was very, like I said, overwhelming. So social connections are also something that really help, and it can energize you again. So that could be asking for help. It could also just be connecting and having a nice time. Like if you're on the computer all day and you need a break and you have decisions to make, connecting with a friend, a meaningful connection will really make a big difference. So those are just a few of them. You may find your own that get your willpower up, but knowing that this is an issue, the willpower depletion, is really the first step. And I wrote that in the ounce of prevention. So being aware, planning for it, and then the last one, and it always is being kind to yourself about the whole situation. So sometimes we'll plan and our best laid plans are, for naught. But the attempt was important and probably made a difference, even if it didn't end up making the difference that you wanted. So I am a huge proponent of planning. Planning is looking forward, making arrangements so that you have what you need, and then going forward, being flexible enough to be in the moment and do what you need to do, even if the plan isn't perfect. But you increase the odds of success, whatever you're defining that to be, if you have given yourself all the support that you could need. It's really super important, that stuff. The other two other concepts. One is this idea of a karate chop. So I am not a karate expert or novice. I'm nothing with karate. But what I have heard is, when people can chop the cinder block or a piece of solid wood, they train to be able to do that. And one of the ways they are able to do that is when they're visualizing, chopping the wood, let's say. They visualize the point past the wood, so the floor, so that the side of the hand is going through the wood to the floor. If you stop at the wood, the energy won't go through it. You have to go completely through. I find that to be such a useful analogy, because when we're planning for things, we need to plan through them, not just at the event. And this is particularly true here in this idea of the willpower depletion, because let's say you go to a wedding and you've decided the food isn't the best. You're really there to support the groom and your friends and to connect and have a really good time. And you're on a weight loss journey, you're looking to lose a couple pounds, and you've decided that this is not the place that you're going to expend a lot of calories. And you manage, so you plan. So you have a little snack before, and you're there, and you really focus on the people and connecting. You have a fantastic time. It's relatively easy to not be tempted by the chicken, dinner. And then you get home, and you eat all the crackers and cookies you can find. That piece is that piece that I experienced having gone to Costco, managed through Costco, but then felt that comfort need. So the karate chop means plan for the after. Okay, knowing that this is a possibility. That could mean a couple things. Not having cookies and crackers in the house is one of them. I love environmental control. But another one is knowing that it's possible and having a plan to be comforted afterwards. So connecting with a partner, talking to a friend, going for a walk, having a bath when you get home, something like that, but intentionally planning that will make a huge difference. The energy is calmed, the willpower is shored up, and you are able to stick to the goals that you set for yourself, the reasonable goals that you set for yourself. So that is an important one. The other one I wanted to talk about, this is the last one, it's really interesting, because there'll be a bunch of people who are saying, I go to Costco all the time, it's no problem, which is awesome. And what usually happens there is that you do go all the time. So you start to filter out all those messages, and you're able to go in there and not be tempted by every little thing that's in there. Now they'll change the store around to fight that for people, but in general, your brain works to filter those things out. Your brain needs to streamline as much as possible, and if you go someplace all the time, it will habituate you to, you'll go down this aisle and you'll get this thing on the right and on the left. It's like a market. You're not tempted by the things. You basically go and you're able to get your list. So that is your brain habituating and a filter. So some of you, Costco is not an issue for you at all. No problem. Go in, go out, done. But a buffet may be difficult. Or, for some people it'll be a yarn store. Or, there'll just be something that there's so much temptation. So, I wanted to introduce a couple of those brain concepts, and the idea that the willpower can be depleted. You wake up with a certain amount. The idea that your brain can habituate to environments, so then they're not as overwhelming. Like if I started going to Costco every week, I wouldn't have had an experience. Soon I wouldn't have that experience. And the karate chop. So the idea of planning for beyond the event that you are concerned about. So knowing that you might need comfort, you might need willpower, recharge after the event. So those are just a couple things. I'm so happy to spend this time with you on Thursday, and I will see you next Thursday. And I hope you have a really, really good week.